dealing with evangelism, evangelism to Muslim
Oh,
and
nice topic.
people of other religion. Evangelism to Muslim and people of other religion. And this is very interesting as I remember in Nigeria here, we have a lot of Muslims. They are part of our family. And we have them also in the northern parts of the country. So, and also in the Philippines there, we have them in the southern parts there, that is Mindanao area. So this is a wonderful area that we need to look at. We've been very hostile to them. But when I was in the Philippines there, I remember the Abu Sayyafs and so on, IMNLF and so on. And because of this, people, we have developed a kind of biased mind of reaching out to them. And at the same time, in Nigeria presently, we are faced with these Muslims, we call them Boko Haram. Boko Haram means no to Western education and so on. And they are terrorizing us. They are the most problematic people in my country, Nigeria now, because of their kidnapping, because of kidnapping for ransom, because
Wow.
of their own. And I believe that also it happens like that in the Philippines there.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, the moment I remember the Abu Sayyaf, IMNLF, and so on, then I
Right.
said, wow, it's just everywhere with this. But
Exactly.
you know, the most funniest thing about it is that these people that we have abandoned, that we have neglected to evangelize, they are the one that they were bringing violence to us because the church have failed to do what they are supposed to do. They have failed. We have failed as a church to reach out to them. And if we ask most of our people that what do they know about Islam, many of our Christian brothers, even the seminarians, they don't understand. They just see the negative aspects of them. So that is why evangelism to Muslims are very, very important to us. For example, my dad's younger sister, she's a Muslim. She a Muslim. She married also a Muslims, and their children, they are what? They are also Muslims, and we have many of them that are surrounded us. But how do we minister to these people effectively? And because we have closed our mind to them, the first thing that we need to do is, if we want to do evangelism among the Muslims, the first thing is we must first go back and read the history of Islam. We must go back and read the history of Islam. There is a general history and there is also a contextual history. For example, yes, in Nigeria here, you have the general history and you will have the contextual history. The contextual history, what I mean by it is that how do the Islam enter your own place there? because we must know the background. And when we know the history, it gives us a kind of understanding, a kind of clear picture, and help us to strategize how we are to reach out to them. How we are to reach out to them. Another area that I would like us to note is the area of their doctrine and belief. Areas of their doctrine and belief. It will be wrong for us, to be totally wrong for us to say that we want to do Muslim evangelism, that we don't know anything about their doctrine and belief. If we know about their doctrine and belief, we'll be able to do our evangelism with them very effectively. Let me just treat one aspect of their doctrine. I will not go in details because we are not going into details with that. What we are going to do is just a brief understanding of what their doctrine is all about. In Islamic uh, view, there is something that they call the 5 pillars of Islam. Every Muslims must understand these 5 pillars of Islam. And number one of it is their confession. Their confession, that is number one. And their confession is that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is the messenger of God. There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is the messenger of God. So, and that is number one for them. And if we study, if we look at our understanding or where some disagreement is coming from, disagreement is coming that they are looking at that Muhammad is the messenger of God. But to us, Jesus Christ is what? Is God. Jesus Christ is God. John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever is prayer." So they have to pray 5 times daily. The Muslims have to pray 5 times daily. And this their prayer, they have to face when they want to pray, they have to face Mecca. There is a certain place where they need to face. They said it is Mecca. And because of that, every of them must pray 5 anywhere they go, whatever they were doing. So when it is time to pray, they have to. Prayer around 2 o'clock, prayer around 4 or so whatever is and pray. Even when they were driving, they have to stop, park, and pray for that time. I don't know in your own place, but in my own place here, in fact, when you are traveling to the north or you are coming from the north and there is time for them to pray, they will just park by the roadside. In fact, the trailer drivers, they will just park beside the road and they will do their prayer there. And you can see them doing this. And number 3 is fasting. Fasting. So number 1 is confession. Number 2 is their prayer 5 times daily. And number 3 is their fasting. So they have to fast during the Ramadan. In fact, in Nigeria now, their fasting time, the Ramadan time, will start probably by February 18 or 20. And it's going to last for 28 days or something like that. So this period, they don't work much, especially in the northern part of Nigeria. There are some Muslim states where they will close the school. They will suspend all activities in some schools purposely because they want their members, they want the Muslim, the teachers, the students also to fast. And during those fasting period, they don't do much at all because they believe it is their period that they are communicating with God. So, and the next one is almsgiving. Almsgiving. Almsgiving means they have to be giving people things, like beggars. When you see beggars, you give them money, you give them things. During the Ramadan, for example, many people will be coming to their houses to eat. They will be cooking for them to eat, giving them some packages and so on. So all these things are all these things. The last one them is pilgrimage to Mecca. As a Muslim, a faithful Muslim, you must be able to go to Mecca in your lifetime. So going to Mecca is part of their doctrine and belief. And I remember there was a man living beside my father's house. This man, they are living in our old building. We gave them the place to stay free. But when you see this man, he's an old man. But just about 3 years ago, we just heard that his children contributed for him to go to Mecca. So we were so surprised. They don't have the money, but they were able to raise the money for him to go to Mecca. That is exactly what is happening. In fact, our government in some of the Muslim states, they were sponsoring them to go to Mecca at the national expenses. So we can see the history of Islam that we need to learn. And at the same time, we need to see that, yes, we understand them very, very much. Let me also continue to talk about some other areas if we want to do evangelism among the Muslims. It's not something that we just wake up one day and we said we want to evangelize them. No, we can't do that. There are some things that we need to know, and there are some areas that we need also to understand. One of the areas that we need to understand is the culture. The culture. We cannot just go to a place and said we want to do evangelism among the Muslims without knowing their culture. Culture is very important because, for example, now, many of the Filipinos, they travel to Muslim countries like Kuwait, Saudi, to do some work there. But there are some that they were going there to do work, and at the same time, be they were doing evangelism in that particular area. And they need also to understand the culture of the place where they were trying to do evangelism, because knowing the culture will enable us to understand them very well. Knowing the culture, knowing the practices, knowing what they believe, all these things help us to understand that yes, we need a lot to understand about this Islamic evangelism. So, and it helps in our own context here when someone is being ministered to, and after some time, that person now became converted to be a Christian. So all this is something that helps in some areas that we need to understand that yes, it is very, very important. And I want to tell you that there are some areas in that Quran that mention about Jesus Christ, but they will not do it. They will not read it, but instead they skip some of the things about Jesus Christ because they don't want to. And thank God for today that we can get English Quran, and thank God today that in some of our theological seminaries and our Christian universities, there are some schools where they are teaching their students to know about this Islamic world and their practices, so that they can be able to reach out to them. This is a long area that we need to understand, but this is just an introductory to the area. So evangelizing Muslim can involve a variety of approaches, seizing opportunities, and when they arise, some of these opportunities include the 1040 windows, year 2000 evangelism plan, prayer as warfare, short-term mission, partnership mission, contextualization strategies, process, project, relationship, tent making, mission, and holistic mission. So how do we do this? How do we do this? I want to give us some areas. I want to give us some areas that we can use to reach out to this Muslim evangelism. Let me take you down to some areas now. Number one is friendship evangelism. Friendship evangelism. And that is one of the areas that we can make in approach to Muslim in an area where they were hostel. Friendship evangelism and teachers-based evangelism. Teachers-based evangelism. Friendship evangelism and teachers-based evangelism. And number 2, the art of teaching. If you are a teacher, you can use teaching method as a means of doing evangelism among them. And next one is parables, proverbs, storytelling, and community. So another one is friendship discipleship. Friendship discipleship. You see, we must be very, very wise. We must be very, very wise if we want to do evangelism among them, especially when this area is an hostile area. When this area is an hostile area. So this will be of help to us to reach out to the Muslim. What exactly is friendship evangelism? What exactly is friendship evangelism? And I've read some books, and some were saying that, well, this friendship evangelism is the best and correct and accepted method for reaching out to the Muslims. Because if we look at it very well, in some areas that have been shut for missionaries, that they cannot go. You see, in some community that has been hostile, what do we need to do? In a community where we cannot do door-to-door outreach or something, we have to start with friendship. We have to start with what? With friendship. Let me give you a small approach. You see, when I was in the UTS, some of the children there at that time, they were all scared of me because I'm black. So what do I do? Anytime I went to Walmart store or SM store, I will buy candy, put candy in my pocket. So as when I'm coming like this, when they saw me, they would just be, ah! And what do? I started making friends with them. I buy chocolate, buy um, chocolate, buy candies for them, so that the moment the children, they saw the candy I brought for them like this, then they would like to come and play with me. You see, I make friends with them, and making friends with them, it helps a lot. And that is a small logic. Friendship style evangelism is something that is very, very important. And before we make friends, there are things that we need to learn. We need to learn about their culture. We need to learn about their language. We need to learn about their tolerance, because not just every one of them are tolerant. So the language skill is very, very important. So using the friendship evangelist approach that everyone was promoting. So language skill is very, very important. So when friendship was firmly established, then we can be able to share Christ with them, because you've established a kind of friendship, you've established a relationship, you've established a trust that the Muslim friends, they can also understand that, yes, this is my friend, that this is my what? This is my friend. And furthermore, let me talk about teachers-based evangelism. Teachers-based evangelism. And we should not forget that if you want to be a missionary among the Muslim communities, some of them, they knew the Bible. And if you met some fanatics one, they knew Bible. So sometimes engage in religious conversation in order even to evangelize you that you want to evangelize them. So one thing that we need is that we need to understand their culture. We need to understand what? Their culture. Because in our own setting here, we need to understand them very well. And we should not first introduce our doctrine or Bible to them. What they need is that approach that we want to take. Let me give you an example. There is an area in our place. They said they don't have schools there. And they were requesting for Christian schools because they believe that Christians will build schools. And then they were requesting for teachers to come and teach their children, but they don't allow church to be planted. How are we going to do in this particular area? So what they did was that they brought schools there and missionaries or teachers that they were Christians into this particular area so that they can be able to teach them in the nursery and their primary school. And don't forget, give me your children. After some times, I will turn them to be what God really want them to be. So this can be of help to them. If God has called you to be a teacher, to do teachers-based evangelism, then what we have in mind to do on this in particular. So, hello?
Hi.
Are you listening?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Now, let me give you some biblical basis, teachers-based evangelism, so that we can know if God is calling you. Evangelism, is it biblical? I want to say it's biblical because we are not doing a detailed study of style of evangelism in the Bible. A quick overview of the concept of teaching should surface at this particular point. The word preach and teach are used in relation to Christ many times. And if we look at the whole picture of Jesus given in the gospel, is one of a teacher and healer. Along this is the identity Jesus had among the people. The identity that Jesus had among the people. What did they call him? They called Jesus like rabbi and good teacher are at the top of the list. The very person we are to emulate in our lives personified the teaching lifestyle. If we look at the New Testament, we have about 52 times that draw our attention to the fact that Jesus was actually actively teaching, not in the synagogue, in the temple, in boats, in the streets, in the desert, on a mountain, in cities and villages. Is God calling you into a teacher-based evangelism? I want you to think about this. And let us look at what Jesus, when he discipled his followers, especially his 12 disciples, he taught them to become fishers of men. His teaching includes things like, as you go, preach. Matthew 10:7. Preach from the housetops. Matthew 10:27. Preach the gospel to all creatures. Mark 16:15. So when the gospel is preached in all the world, then the end shall come. Matthew 24:14. The Bible tells us that after Jesus' ascension into heaven, the disciples went everywhere preaching the word. Acts chapter 8, verse 4. And when Peter and John were taken before the Sanhedrin court, the court told them never again to speak or teach about him. So when the disciples were in prison and an angel released them, the angel instructed them, go to the temple and give the people this message of life. So the apostle entered the temple about daybreak and immediately began teaching. Acts 5:20-21. So we need to understand that okay. One thing that we need to understand is that one of the reasons for a Muslim resistance to the gospel is that his agenda needs to be dealt with before proclamation can be had. Another struggle is that many well-meaning Christians today have little or no idea of how to go about the business of actually proclaiming Christ so that a Muslim mind can comprehend it. The danger is to be too quiet or too forthright. Under colonialism, some Western missionaries abused their privilege as teachers of the gospel and began to teach Western culture and lifestyle rather than simply presenting Christ crucified. That is the area where our missionaries, early missionaries, they have missed it. I'll still repeat that. When the missionary came, the privilege they need, the opportunity they need, they misuse it. Instead of them teachers of the gospel, they started to preach or to teach Western culture and lifestyle. So instead of them presenting Christ to the people. So we can see that there are many opportunities that we need to be tapped. We need to do what? We need to tap. So what do we need to understand from this teacher's base? Our lifestyle is number one. Our friendship is number two. Then comes teacher's base. Then followed by proclamation and confrontation. Confrontation is in the sense that we open it for them that this is Christ. This is Christ. We go straight when our lifestyle has been established, when our friendship has been fully established, when our teachers base, we are fast in it, because, and then we can proclaim Christ to them. So this one is very, very important to us. If God is calling us and whatever we want to do, let me take you to the art of teaching. To the art of teaching. Because in the Westerners that assume the role of teacher in a Muslim society, they struggle as a teacher. They struggle as a teacher. I'm telling us about the teaching purposely because if we are dealing with children evangelism, we are teaching them. If whatever we want to do, we are teaching. So we must know the in and out of it. As I said a while ago, we need to understand the culture and language. Culture is important. Study your target culture carefully. Study your target culture carefully. People do certain things for a reason. They may not know the reason, but there are always reasons. Delve into the culture and seek to understand how people act and how they relate to each other. Let me give you one example. There was a missionary that went to Papua New Guinea. The missionary failed to understand their culture. And in Papua New Guinea, these people, they were living together with pigs. They build their house that is very high little, where they are in a compound, the pig lives. Romaris was preaching to them about, and it was how Christ cast out, and the demon enter into the pigs, and the pigs all rushed straight into the ocean, and they died. Do you know the response? They said, "I is a wicked one," because pigs is part of their economic life, and their economic life is very, very important to them. So we need to understand the culture and the language. And I know in your own place there, you know your culture together, and you must also understand the Islamic culture. That will also be very, very important, because sometimes you have to dress like them. So you walk around them, because if you want to go and minister to some rural areas, don't go with a suit. Don't go with flamboyant something. Go key so that they can understand you. Dress is important, because as a teacher that's doing evangelism, you hold an honor place in that very particular area. One who does not dress appropriately will soon lose the respect among them. We soon lose the respect. So you are a lady, you have to cover your head as they were doing, so that they will be able to listen to you. Then your style of teaching. Style of teaching is also very, very important. You see, we know what we preconceive as notions in our mind, why we are doing what we are doing. And we should not just be able to just disclose everything to them, but we know it inside of ourselves. So we must also be able to act like them. So what about the sittings? You know, our sittings is different from the sitting we use in our churches. In the mosque, the chair and everything is only the mat. I remember when I go to Korea, in some homes, when you get there, they have only 3-seaters, and the rest you sit on their local culture there. So if you have never attended a mosque for the teaching session, we must try to go and observe, or we watch it through television. Study your local culture so that you can immediately see if there are seats of honor or places in the room that you need to decide for yourself if you want or need to make use of this disciple to take places of lesser authority and ask his followers to do likewise. Matthew 23, verse 5 to 12. How do you handle the scripture among them? So all these things is very, very important to us. So that our teaching among them can be able to sink into their hearts. So please, Reverend Guzman, are you listening? Yes, let me just entertain some questions.
Oh, this is a very interesting topic. Yes.
Do you have some questions? I'm asking the class members, do they have some questions?
Pastor Sam, it's a very interesting topic, and it's very relevant in the Philippines.
Okay.
And we have Muslim neighbors as well.
Yes. Yeah, I noticed that we have a lot of Muslims in the Mindanao area there.
Yeah. One in our barangay, the friendship evangelism is so effective. Can establish rapport.
Yes.
And well, if you really give some attention, talking to them, giving them some fruits.
Yes.
Exactly.
Rambutan.
Yeah, rambutan, lanzones.
Yeah.
They love it so much. Yeah, you can really establish rapport through friendship, sharing,
You see, I remember one of my lecturers in Korea.
Yeah.
You see, he said they sent some missionaries to Republic of Congo. And when he was going, he knew that the missionaries will need a car there. But he said he decided not to give him money for car. And we started thinking in our heart that this man is wicked. You are using a car in your place, and you are sending missionaries, and you are sending money for the missionary to buy, was it a bicycle or autobike? And he said, I know what you are thinking in your mind, that I'm wicked. He started to explain to us that he did that. He said his money for the car is in one account that he kept, but he wants him to establish friendship.
Exactly.
So there is no way he will ride his bike that he will not find somebody to pick on the road.
That's right.
He will not find somebody to talk with. That he wants him to establish friendship first.
Yeah.
He said if it is a car, he will just wind up with AC and then be going.
Exactly.
He will not have any contact with anybody.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we can see the importance of this. friendship style is the basis of what we can start with
Yeah,
if we want to minister to the Muslims in our area.
that's right.
So I think I need to stop here. I had some visitors
Okay.
that they were waiting for me. Is
Absolutely. Yeah,
my
it's very interesting topic, and we can deal with that again next meeting.
yes. I will continue with this probably with parable, proverbs, storytelling, and the community by next time by God's grace.
Excellent.
Please, I'm sorry for cutting this short today.
No problem.
Sorry.
God bless you, pare.
Thank you very